Hiya, my name's Charlie and welcome to my channel, and today I've got a book haul for you. I've got Christmas books I've got from the Waterstones half price sale, and books I've acquired recently from either stealing from Emily or getting out from the library. So yeah, let me know what you guys got for Christmas, which books you guys got for Christmas, and yeah. So I'm going to make a start. So I've got quite a few books, as you could tell from the thumbnail in front of me. The first book I'm going to start with is a book I picked up from the library, and this is The Boy Lost in the Maze by Joseph Coelho and illustrated by Kate Milner. This is a novel told in verse, and I sort of was like, it jumped off the shelves at me yesterday. So it says in the back, this is a story about two boys separated by centuries, parted by myth, divided by reality. Two boys hoping to be men, two boys severed from their fathers, two boys searching a maze of manhood. So yeah, and it says it's by a Carnegie Medal shortlisted author. So yeah, I haven't actually heard anyone on BookTube talk about this. I just saw the cover, picked it up, blurb. That's what got me. So yeah. Right, the next three books are books that I have stolen from my sister Emily from Novel Novels. Emily's channel link below. This is a middle grade. Again, a lot of these I don't know too much about. This is by The Village by the Sea by Anita Desai. I saw this on her shelves and I think I'd read the premise. Like, again, this was a while ago, and I just sort of nicked it from her. It was with their mother ill and their father permanently drunk, Harry and Leela have to earn their money to keep the house and look after the two young sisters. In desperation, Harry runs away to Bombay and Leela is left to cope alone. So yeah, I just thought it looked quite like a good story. So as with all of these, I'm interested. This is one this was one I think Emily was trying to give to my mum to read. But I saw it, and my mum has got piles and piles of books that Emily has brought over to her house. So I saw this one, and because I'd read the author Jasbinder Bilan last year, a few years ago actually, so I saw this and I was like, oh, I recognise the author. I loved the previous book by this author, so I picked it up. It's Tamarind and the Star of Ishta, and again, I don't really know too much about the premise, so I'll read you what it says in the back. Tamarind never knew her Indian mum, who died soon after she was born. So when she visits her ancestral home, a huge house in the Himalayas surrounded by wild gardens, she's full of questions, but instead of answers, there's forbidding silence. To unravel the mystery at the heart of who she is, Tamarind follows a trickle of clues to an overgrown hut, a star-shaped ring that glows, and a strange girl who calls herself Ishta. And like I said, I loved the previous book. I'll put the cover on screen. This was the before, and it was like a cute little middle grade adventure story. And I'm guessing this is kind of going to be on the same lines, and it's very, very short. It's just over 200 pages. Beautiful cover. I'm in. Right, this one is one Emily read and loved and recommended to me, and this is so I didn't just steal it from her. It was Black Mamba Boy by Nadifa Mohamed. Again, I've read this. This author was shortlisted for the Booker like not last year, the year before, I think it was, and I just loved the book. I just loved the book, so I knew I wanted to pick this one up, and loads of people that have been reading it recently and telling me how great it is. So I'm not even going to read the premise of it, because I'm not going to go into the premise of all of these because I will be here all day. Then I've got one Emily gave me for Christmas. We're getting on to Christmas presents now. I've got Oh William by Elizabeth Strout in paperback. I wanted to get the physical copies of the Amgash series, and obviously and probably more of the Elizabeth Strout's work, because I have read this obviously, because this was longlisted and shortlisted for the Booker last year. Yeah, so I just want to read them physically, because I found the reading physical copies of them, I got more out of them. I enjoyed them much more than the audiobooks. So yeah, that's why she picked this one up for me. So thank you, Em. And the next one is one that the lovely Alice from Alice in the Giant Bookshelf got me for Christmas. And also I'll put the picture on screen of like the lovely little package that she sent me. She sent me a book, she made me a lovely little crocheted creature for my like ornament for my tree, and then obviously chocolate, which yum yum yum. So yeah, this is Annie Ernaux's The Years. Annie Ernaux writes like autobiographical sort of non-fiction-y kind of works. I know this is like one of her most famous ones. Yeah, it says considered by many to be the iconic French memoirist's defining work. So yeah, I read a book by this author last year in October, and one of her really short ones, and you know, all of her works are quite short, but I really loved it. So obviously Alice knew that and picked this up for me. So yes, thank you, Alice. I really, really appreciate it, and I loved the parcel when I got it. It was a delight. So. And then this is one that my lovely friend Charlie from Charles Heathcote, one of my booktube besties, got me for Christmas. And this came in like lovely packaging, and it's Friends, a poem for every day of the year, edited by Jane McMorland Hunter. Yes, and I'm slowly been working my way through these since I've started reading them one a day since Christmas, and I've been ticking them off with my pencil inside. So this will be a fun little project for the year. So thank you. Look at the gorgeous cover. I mean, that is like a stunning cover. So yeah, very, very thoughtful. Thank you, Charlie. I really appreciate it. Right, next, in terms of presents, this is the last of the presents that my bookish presents that my husband got me. This is one I've actually read, Limberlost by Robbie Arnott. This is Robbie Arnott's third novel. I think I've also read a short story by him. This one we follow Ned, who sort of you see him sort of growing up and is sort of flashing back and jumping around in time, and he helps out on his family farm, which is called Limberlost. And Robbie Arnott sort of writes book. He normally includes books with these you normally get a real feel for the Australian landscape. I think this one's set in Tasmania as well, I think. I'm fairly certain. It just, unfortunately, yeah, I can't really recommend this because I just didn't really, it was okay, but I was really disappointed because Flames and The Rain Heron by Robbie Arnott, they were 5-star reads. I literally loved them so much. So yeah, this was a bit of a disappointment to me, unfortunately. So I don't know whether I will still keep it. I feel like I still want to keep it because I love his other books so much. I don't know, maybe that's silly. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's that one. And then my husband also, in terms of hardbacks, picked me up My Soul Twin by Nino Haratischwili. This is one I'm hoping to buddy read. I loved this author's first, well, I don't know what order they're published, but I read The Eighth Life, literally behind my head, by this author, and literally it's one of my favourite books, and I was banging on about it. Me and Charlie were banging on about it in our Christmas Cracker videos. So and I think this is sort of it says on the thing, I've read it, sort of like a Wuthering Heights retelling, which is it? I don't know. 8 years have passed since Stella last saw Ivo, but when she returns, the reunion of their unconventional family will change the course of her ordinary life. As children, Stella and Ivo grew close as their parents embarked on an affair that would shatter both families. Later, as teenagers, their own relationship would be the cause of further scandal. Now, as adults, they set out on an odyssey to uncover the truth about another family's past and to understand their own. My Soul Twin is an intense love story about the forbidden desires, the ties that bind us, and whether we can ever truly forget what we leave behind. So yeah, I'm excited for this. This is one of my anticipated books for this year. Hopefully it won't let me down like Limberlost did. Then I got my husband to get me to pick up some books from Plato Press because I've been banging on about Plato Press for quite a while. Plato Press are an independent publisher that they're sort of like a small publisher, and they publish works of political kind of non-fiction. So this one is a Brigadistes Lives for Liberty by Jordi Martin Rueda, translated by Mary Ann Newman, and this is one of those sort of, it has 60 profiles of different people, I think 60 illustrated profiles. Brigadistes embroiders an epic story of political struggle with the everyday bravery sorrow and love of all those who lived it. So yeah, I'm excited for this. Well, you know what I mean when I say that. There's also like quite a few photographs and things inside it. So yeah, this sounds really good. And these were two I'd seen on the website that I was I've been really wanted to read, so that's why I nagged my husband and he picked them up for me. Kurdish Women's Stories. Again, this is like another collection. I think both of these are, all three of these are. So I don't know how many there is. This is a collection of Kurdish women's stories written in their own words. Each story reveals a tapestry of experiences, including political activism under Saddam and armed resistance in Rahav's PKK and YPG in Rahalat's Kamala. This in addition to experiences from FGM and overcoming victimhood, which is obviously horrible, life under extreme conservatism, as well as a look through the artists, poets, novelists and performers whose work demonstrates a complicated relationship with Kurdistan. So yeah, this is one I've been eyeing up for ages, so thank you Richard for picking it up for me. And again, this is kind of does what it says on the tin. It's a similar sort of thing. The purple colour of Kurdish politics, women politicians right from prison. So yeah, I know all of these are going to be really hard hitting, but so for example, in terms of chapters, history has no love for women who stop and keep quiet. And there's sort of this, so this is easy, and it's sort of translated piece of, they're all different stories. So yeah, I'm definitely going to get to these obviously. Right, the next two, and now we're going to head on. The last few books are books I picked up at the Waterstones sale. So I'm sure lots of you, I don't know if you guys do know, lots of you will know, Waterstones has like a half price hardback sale, like Boxing Day to like a few days after Boxing Day. And me and my younger sister went into town, and literally we got there really early. So I think we were one of the first people when the shop was open. So we got like a really big pick of everything. And I picked up 5 books, which actually is quite restrained to me. Actually, I picked up 6 because one was a gift. So yeah. The first one I picked up I have already read. This is Alison by Lizzie Stewart. This is a graphic novel. In this book we follow Alison, and it's basically, she's married, I think it's set in the 70s or 80s, and she's married to this guy who she doesn't really love, and she one day she has a chance meeting with this artist, which then leads her to sort of go on an adventure to London. And yeah, it's really, really good. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely one I want to keep and reread. And yeah, I don't know whether this has this author got other books out? I don't know. Is this a debut? I don't know. But yeah, I really enjoy. This is really, really good. It was a good, quick read, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, and it sort of talks about art and about the struggle of her. Not a struggle. It's about her finding herself. About Alison finding herself, which I loved. This is another one that I've read and already read. So I'm doing quite well with my Christmas books. The Grumpus by Alex T. Smith. This was wonderful. So I got this out of the library, and like literally it was like a few days before Christmas, because I'd seen it in the children's section, because I help out at the library in the children's bit, and I'd seen it there, and I'd been leaving it there, not touching it, but eyeing it up. And so yeah, it was literally just a few days before Christmas, and I thought, if someone hasn't picked it up by now, then I feel like I can. So yeah, I picked it up from the library, read it really, really quickly, loved it, and I was like, I need to get this book. I need to get a physical copy. So when I saw it, I was hoping I was going to see it in the Waterstones hardback sale, and the store literally had one left, and it was in the window. So I was like, yes. So obviously this story we follow, I'll tell you what it's about. The Grumpus, and he's basically, obviously you can see he's kind of this grumpy character, but he loves Brussels sprouts. You can see he's got Brussels sprouts in his jumper, and he meets this little bunny rabbit at the beginning of the story, and he is on a mission. He wants to kind of destroy Christmas. He doesn't understand Christmas. He meets he has this in his head that he wants to just sort of destroy Christmas, ruin Christmas. But then he meets the bunny. He goes on a little magical adventure, and it is heartwarming, brilliant, and really fun. And the illustrations in this are just so much fun. It's probably not the best example. There we go. And it's just wonderful. So yeah, that's why it kind of made my honourable mentions of the year last year, because which I'll put in the description, because it was just really wonderful. And I think adults and children alike you can't pick this up and not enjoy it. So yeah, I even let my husband borrow it, and I was trying to thrust it at my kids, but they weren't actually interested. The next book on my list is a contemporary book, and it's Sunny by Suk Ojla. This is, I think, like, Suk Ojla is like a comedian, and yeah, you can tell when you I picked up the premise of it. I never heard of this book or this author before, and I picked up the book in Waterstones and I read the premise, which I'll read to you. Sunny is the queen of living a double life. To her friends, she's entertaining, eternally upbeat, and the single one, always on hand to share hilarious and horrifying date stories. But while they're all settling down with long-term partners and mortgages, Sunny is back in her childhood bedroom at 30, playing the role of the perfect daughter. She spends her time watching Seek to the Channel, making saag and samosi with her mum, hiding gins in a tin in her underwear drawer, sneaking home in the middle of the night after dates, trying but failing to find the one. So it says, Sunny by Suk Ojla is relatable, moving, and life-affirming novel. It's warm and full of honesty, exploring family, love, and mental health. And I've sampled the first chapter of this, and it's just really, really good. So I can't wait to read it. I'm definitely want to read it as soon as I can. Yeah, and then we've got Someday Maybe by Onyi Benelli, and this is one I'd heard about. I think I'd heard about it on Peter's channel on Comfy Cozy Up. Also, I've seen various different bookstagrammers and different people mentioning this. I know this is a really hard-hitting book. I believe it covers the topic of suicide, so obviously content warnings and things. And I think it's again, I'll have a look. It says, after her husband's unexpected death, Eve is left heartbroken, but everyone around her, her friends, her tight-knit Nigerian British family, her toxic mother-in-law, seems to be pushing her to move on. Unable to face the future, Eve begins looking back, delving through the history of her marriage in an attempt to understand where it went wrong. So I know this is going to be really hard-hitting. I know this is thing, but I do still want to read it. So. And this is another one that's completely different. I've got such a variety to choose from. And this is sort of a historical fiction murder mystery type crime novel, I think, maybe with magical realism elements, I think. Anyway, it's Belladonna by Adeline Grace. So I'll read you what it says on the blab. Orphaned as a baby, 19-year-old Signa has been raised by a string of guardians, each more interested in her wealth than her well-being, and each met an untimely end. So her remaining relatives are the elusive Hawthorns, an eccentric family living at Thorngrove, an estate both glittering and gloomy. Its patriarch mourns his late wife through wild parties, and while his son grapples for control of the family's waning reputation, his daughter suffers from a mysterious illness. But when their mother's restless spirit appears, claiming she was poisoned, Signa realises that the family she depends on could be in grave danger and enlists the help of a surly stable boy to hunt down the killer. Signa's best chance of uncovering the murder, though, is an alliance with Death himself, a fascinating, dangerous shadow who has never been far from her side. Though he has made her life a living hell, Death shows Signa that their growing connection may be more powerful and more irresistible than she ever dared imagine. So I was hooked. Plus, look at that cover. That is such a gorgeous cover. I love it when Death plays a character in a book. That always intrigues me and grapples me. And again, I've read the first chapter of this and really enjoyed it. So I am excited, as with all of these, to get to them. So that is the book haul. I'm done. Let me know, like I said, what books you got for Christmas. Let me know what books you're excited for, what books you're currently reading, etc, etc, etc. Have a good old natter in the comments below. Take care, and send you guys lots of love. Goodbye.